Okay, so, man, it's been a long fucking time. Yo, you know what I mean? Like, look, the plan was to watch, Dune Part 2 straight away. But just life gets in the way, man. So it's been a minute, but got round to it. Right? Directed, obviously, once again, by Denis Villeneuve, who co-wrote the film with Jon Spaihts. It is produced by Mary Parent, Patrick McCormick, Robbie Macari, Gianluca Lorini, Tanya Lapon, Food Callie, Genevieve Hoffmeyer, Adam Goodman, Howard Ellis, Amanda Conferu, Kale Boiter, Gorgo Balka, Dalia Al Ray, and Denis Villeneuve. It is executive produced by Herbert W. Gaines, Joshua Gord, John Harrison, Brian Herbert, Kim Herbert, Byron Merritt, Richard P. Rubenstein, John Safis, and Thomas Tull. Co-produced by Bryce Parker, Toby Hefferman, James Grant, and Jessica Durhammer. Associate produced by Trevor Bagg. Yeah, that's it. With line production from Tina Oswald. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Hans Zimmer, once again, killed it with the score. Greg Fraser is on cinematography. Joe Walker, sorry people, edits the piece. Francine Maisler took care of the casting, and what a great job. Patrice Vermette is production design, killed it. Right? Art direction, we have Veronica Todi, Adjan Portik, Tobias Lazar, Philippe Lord, Felix Lavia Charon, Karim Kur, Mikos Hatavani Daik, Tom Brown, Federic Bethlehem Gabino, and Andrew Ackland Snow. Shane Vu was set decoration. Jacqueline West is costume design. I think we go to the cast because, with this kind of film, right? So many people working behind the camera, effects and just so many things, right? So, man, all of them were incredible. But yeah, let's get to the cast. Right, so obviously, we have Timothée Chalamet back as Paul Atreides. His mother, Jessica, is played by Rebecca Ferguson. Chani is played by Zendaya. Javier Bardem is Stilgar. Josh Brolin is Gurney Halleck. We've got Christopher Walken as the Emperor. Whew. We have got Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen. Man, so good, right? Beast Raban is David Bautista. Fade Rafa is Austin Butler. Oh, Princess Irulan, right? The Emperor's daughter is played by Florence Pugh again. We've got Reverend Mother Morhaime by Charlotte Rampling. There's Lady Margaret Fenning, played by Lee Sadu. Shishkil, right? Chani's friend is played by Sulhilia Jacob. Reverend Mother Ramola is played by Guise Merrill. Kate Tennyson, Tara Brefnak, Akio Hitomi are all Bene Gesserit sisters. Who else do we have? Because there's so many people, right? So many people. Okay, let us probably go here and get the rest of the cast. Oh, Anna Taylor-Joy is Aaliyah Atreides, right? Paul's sister, who isn't actually birthed in this film. So, right, you're like, wait, so then how is Anna Taylor-Joy Aaliyah? Well, there's a lot of kind of psychic messaging going on, you know, telepathic messaging. So we get this kind of trippy sequence with her talking to Paul, and in that it's Anna Taylor playing it. Babs Olasmakun is back as Yanis, right? Roger Young is also Lieutenant Lamville. Stephen McKinley Henderson. I think Tim Blake Nelson filmed stuff, but they weren't actually, their footage wasn't actually used in the end. So what happens? Well, Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while on a war path of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the known universe, he endeavors to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. Man, the first Dune was so good. It was so good. It was like Lord of the Rings for me, man, because the way Villeneuve captured it, right? It was just like, oh yeah, that's kind of how I saw it, right? And then just the scope. Oh man, it was huge. It was operatic. It was fantastic. So after that, you're like, well, how do we finish things off? Right? Can you keep the same momentum? Now the first film, and Villeneuve was talking like it's the building block, right? And in the second film, we come with all the action. Right? It is frenetic. And that's essentially what this is, right? Well, we pick up. Because at the end of the first film, you know, Paul defeats Yanis. And, you know, Stilgar's like, yes, we'll bring them along. So now they go to the siege. And what is great, right? Straight off the bat, the Siege is fucking huge. And in all the other iterations, right, the David Lynch film, which was kind of like all over the place, doesn't really follow the books, but there's a charm about it. Now, the Sci-Fi Channel series with James McAvoy as Paul, right, it's more close to the book, but obviously they didn't have a huge budget, right? So this actually kind of like captures things how you feel it should be, you know. And in the book, the way it's described and referenced as these vast communities in these huge sieges. So Villeneuve gives us that, and it's great, right? And just the reaction that you think Paul and Jessica, they're kind of interlopers, really, when you think about it. So not everyone is going to be fanatical about it. Not everyone is going to. Yes, the Bene Gesserit has planted seeds, but not everyone's going to be down. You know what I mean? So we do get that, right? We get the people who are just like, fuck them. And then the people are like, oh, it's Muad'Dib. He's the one, the chosen one. So all of that is there, right? And you kind of see these factions and everything, and it's great. Now, what else we have is like the Southerners and the younger generation, right? The younger ones who are just like, we don't want to be beholden to these, you know, legends kind of passed down that are used to trap us. This religion created by the Bene Gesserit, which is to hold us down, you know. And then the old of us like, no, don't be sacrilegious, and you're just like, yeah, that makes complete sense. That's how it would be. All of those things were fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Watching you know, Chalamet grow as Paul Atreides. You know, in the first film, he is more reserved and quiet. In this one, he does become more forceful and forthright and raising his voice and shouting, being determined. All of those things are there. All of those things there. Like the whole fade thing is kind of creepy. You know, and he's wants to put a new spin on it because, you know, in the book, Fade isn't necessarily a vampire, right? Well, he's not. His female followers are kind of vampiric, right? Which is kind of different, but, you know, it's creepy. And that's the thing, right? Just the Harkonnens and all of that, creepy. So we get that. All of that is palpable. Just the way, you know, the color coding and all of that, right? When we are in Giddy Prime, man, just the feel of it all. The feel of it all really invokes that kind of, oh, this is, oh boy. You know, and Austin Butler, oh my days, he was really fucking good. Really good. So all of these things work very well. We do definitely differ from the book in places, right? Like the whole Water of Life thing. Because Paul just does that on his own in the book, right? No one is going, oh, let's get this ready, you know what I mean? So that's different. Also, like the Emperor, right? Making the admission of what he, you know, didn't do it. And you kind of feel like, I don't know if he would. But then you could see that, well, it's over for him. So it's not you're not really losing anything by just admitting to it all. So those kind of things are different. The way we end the film, very different, right? Very different from the book. And where Paul is talking about Irulan, because I think that was a big moment in the book, right? Because Paul talks about he will marry Irulan, but what Chani means to him. Now, we don't get that in the film, which is interesting, very interesting. And Chani's reaction is the way they played that. Now, Zendaya does like just the emotion in her face. Whew. You know what I mean? Just like you feel it. You feel what she's going through at that moment. It is there. Like when Florence Pugh and her like lock eyes, it's just like fuck. Like the tension in that room is crazy. So we have these differences, but you're not mad at the changes that have been made. You're like, okay, I can roll with that. That's fine. And we know, Villeneuve does want to make Messiah. So the way it's left, that's fine. Because Messiah is a very short film, a short book. So if you were going to make it into a film, adding in, the Chani Irulan stuff, the Aaliyah stuff, that would all beef up what that story would be, And yeah, because we don't have Aaliyah, we do get, the Baron's demise is slightly different, but again, it works, right? The fight between Paul and Fade is great. Like, this film, it was tremendous. I loved it. I thought the score, like, they wouldn't let the score be up for an Oscar, which you just feel, come on, man, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It really brought the emotions. Just every aspect of this film hit like it should. Hit like it should. You're just glad to be back on Arrakis, right? You were glad to be sucked back into this universe, and that Denis Villeneuve was the one to orchestrate this incredible story. Because he's just done such a great job. Like, the shots, just everything really brings this all to life. The sound, the location, just, man, I loved it. This is a film that you will go back to. You will go. I mean, obviously, look, both are long. But watching it, you're not like, I wish they cut that out. And does this need to be there? No, it's all tremendous. And we don't have to throw in any, weird titillation or any, just any, like, of these odd things that sometimes films do, right? You go super graphic and hardcore, and you're just like, wait, what? Why? That's not needed. And Villeneuve and crew have shown that story is king, right? You give the people a great story, then back it up with incredible cast, script, costumes, lighting, all of that shit. And boy, then you have something special on your hands. And Dune 2 is special and is a perfect, conclusion to this first installment, right? This first installment of the classic Frank Herbert saga. And I'm so pleased because, look, Dune and Lord of the Rings, two of my favorite books. And Dune is in sci-fi what Lord of the Rings is in fantasy for me. They're both incredible, right? The way you lay out this whole new thing, right? This landscape, this people, this language, this geology. It's just done so well. And Denis Villeneuve absolutely knocked it out of the park. So if, like me, you were a little late, right, and you haven't seen Dune Part 2, people, don't deprive yourselves. Get to it. And if you haven't seen Dune Part 1, man, if you like sci-fi, and if you like good storytelling, you want this in your life. Trust me. Okay, so go check it. Dune Part 2.